shadows of an empire reborn, with unwavering allegiance. A force emerges, shadow-clad. They questioned our legacy. They mocked the invincible phalanx. They presumed our defeat. We are forged by the crucible of pain. I am Darth Raider. Respect is not given, it is seized. I command it every Sunday. This transcends hope. This defies mere promotion. This is Raider Nation, enduring and indomitable. Stadium Shed! Raiders! Eternally a Raider, forever forged in power. Eternally a Raider, forever forged in power.
What's going on, Raider Nation? Welcome to Raider Nation Show Me Your Shield. This is part number 5 episode that we are kicking off this week, and we are now in the off season where we promised you we were going to take you into the fandom of the Raider Nation. I'm Raider First Downs. This is my co-host, Donuts Duncan. Donuts, introduce yourself.
Donuts Duncan here. Ready to talk some Raider fandom with you guys. Really dig in deep with a fan or two here that we got.
Yeah. So we have special guests coming on with us. 2 gentlemen that are longtime Raiders. It's in their blood. It's in their DNA. They also represent us, the Raider Nation, probably the best that anybody could ever represent the Raider Nation. The 2 guests that we're going to be bringing on, special guests, and I really appreciate them joining us. They're one is a really good friend of Donuts Duncan's family, but they're our family as well. So without further ado, let me introduce you to Darth Raider.
Welcome, Raider Nation, forged in greatness.
Thank you, brother. And bringing up the pack is his brother, nonetheless, the Emperor of the Raider Nation, Leonard.
Raider Nation, baby. Raider Nation. Welcome.
Welcome, gentlemen. Hey, I myself cannot thank you guys enough for joining us, especially being that we're real new into our podcast lives here. But we're going to dive into it a little bit more. But before anything, if you guys, Duncan, if you would be so kind, and let's introduce these gentlemen, and I'm going to step back and let you guys get to work.
Yeah. No, we got Darth Raider and his brother Leonard. Darth Raider is also known as Charles, and I actually have gotten to know them thanks to my dad, who actually coached them in high school in the Fremont area. So it's pretty awesome. Just knowing how Raider Connection can connect us through family and family friends, and just such a wide net across the whole nation of our country itself. Like, it's just awesome.
Can't hear you guys. There.
Yep. Can you hear us, Charles? some technical difficulties.
Use the force, Darth. Use the force. Can you hear us?
Can't hear.
You can't hear? Check your settings.
Yeah,
Can't hear you guys. Audio.
Yeah. So Leonard,
Can't hear.
while Charles takes care of his settings, you want to talk to us about how you became a Raider fan?
Well,
Anybody
in
here?
our family, we were born a Raider fan.
Cannot
Charles,
hear.
Charles, if you hear us, do a thumbs up. But yeah, our dad, he was born in Oakland.
Nope.
So he was, we were born a Raiders fan. We had no choice. Not that we wouldn't want any other choice than to be a Raider fan, from Oakland. So.
Let's try texting Charles real quick.
He might have interference with his earbuds going to the computer with the helmet on.
Oh, okay. Do you? Let's see. Yeah.
Can you guys hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, I could hear you, Leonard.
Okay.
Everybody else?
Duncan, can you hear Duncan?
Can you hear
Okay.
me, Leonard or Charles?
No.
Can you hear
Cannot
me?
hear Duncan.
Okay, I think it's doing what used to happen. Is Leonard? Can you ask Charles if he's connected through Bluetooth?
Yeah. So let me go to that. Charles, you can hear me, right?
Yep, I can hear you.
Okay. All right. If you're connected to Bluetooth, you may want to switch that.
No,
Or
regular mic.
Regular mic and
Notice-
regular speakers.
Yep.
That might just be better than the earbuds that you have.
Yeah, if you go into the settings on the StreamYard side, you should have one for if he's got earbuds on or if he's using the speaker on the computer. So those if we switch those up.
one trick that I did have to do early on was go into settings, then audio, and then click the test twice for the audio setting.
While Darth is while he's figuring out his audio, actually your uncle was coaching as well with me. Actually, I went to school with your uncle.
With my uncle?
Your uncle Jeff.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So he was a senior, I was a freshman. So
Oh,
yeah, and he used to drive me to school in his red Firebird. I don't know if he ever told you about his red Firebird he used to have, or maybe he had photos, family photos, but it was fun. I mean, he was a football stud, obviously, and I was just a little freshman stud. All right, Darth, can you hear us now?
I could hear you, Leonard.
Okay. How about
okay.
you?
The other guys I can't hear.
Leonard, can you have him go to
Don't know
settings?
why.
Yeah, go to your
Go into
settings.
audio,
Darth, go to settings on your audio.
and then click test,
Click test,
and then click it again.
and then click it again.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
I'm guessing Charles cannot hear me.
Let's see. If you go down to that little microphone, there's a little arrow, and then you click on the window that says for your audio.
There might be an issue with me being off stage taking his sound with him.
Yeah, every time you join and leave.
Can you hear Raider first downs?
I could hear the guest at first, but then when Duncan came on, that's when it went off. So I could just
See, it's
hear you.
Duncan's got a virus.
I can't hear the other
No,
guys.
it's every time you leave, Jason.
Nobody but you.
Give me a thumbs up if you can hear me.
Bluetooth is off. Mic is on. We tested mics.
Can you hear anybody else?
Just you.
Me. Wow.
Jason, don't leave again.
There's a
Leonard,
in the force.
can you have Charles do the test again?
We tested this just yesterday, though.
Well, if you want, Duncan, I can ask the questions. If you give me the questions, I'll ask them so that way, obviously we're repeating it, but at least we get him to talk about it.
Yeah. All right. How did the persona of Darth Raider first come to life?
How did the persona of Darth Raider first come to life?
A long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. 95, we started, actually the Raiders came back to Oakland. But before that, preceding that, in the 70s, there was a guy named Mike that took on persona of the Darth Raider. And he did it as soon as the movie came out, obviously. LA, I think there was somebody, but it was kind of, I think he created the website of Darth Raider, but I never really heard from him again. 95, I looked around, I couldn't find anybody, so I said, hey, I guess this is Persona's mine. And the rest is history from 95. Eventually, as you know, Leonard, we met up with the original Darth. He came to the Dark Side tailgate. Leonard will expand more on where the Dark Side tailgate came from. And he gave me his approval. I haven't heard from him since. It's been quite a while. I got his email, and that's about it. But yeah, I'm continuing his legacy from the original Darth in the 70s till now. A good 30 years later, still doing it from 95. And yeah, I've ventured off to Vegas, and yeah, the rest is history.
And obviously, with Leonard saying you were both born into the Raider fandom, can you expand on like what makes Raider Nation and the fans so great?
So us born into the Raider Nation, Darth, can you expand on what makes the Raider Nation so great?
Well, look at us, man. It's definitely a different culture, man. Just a few weeks ago, a woman named Tara wanted to get married on the field. And that just shows you the most uniqueness of the Raider Nation. Granted, there's not many fans that kind of do this thing between me, you, Gorilla, Violator, Power. There's so many that just keep the aura alive, and it's not for just a few years. It's forever. My persona itself has been, alive for more than 30 years plus. I guess since the 70s, since the original Darth. So it's not going anywhere. There's still going to be passionate fans. There's a guy that just broke the record, Brian Fowler. I don't know if you all know that set a world record, not just a states record, a world record of attending games in a valid time. So that's the kind of passion that we kind of go for. I don't really know anybody else that's, actually capable of doing that. And the fact that, we just keep going on, man, it's been so long when you have such a unique history of the greatness of, we've seen it all, we've done it all. We just got to get back to it,
And across the NFL, the Raiders fandom kind of has more of a darker, more relentless imagery and just intensity. Leonard, you think, do you have any like examples or stories you could tell that can kind of exemplify like why the Raiders are so intense?
Yeah. So the Raider Nation, I mean, it stems from Al Davis, and I mean, he was the one. He's the reason why the NFL is what it is today. He actually said, "I don't care what you look like. You can, wear whatever or be whatever." I remember back then, like the NFL was very clean cut. You saw everybody else, but he didn't care. He didn't care what you look like. And the Raiders were, wearing leather jackets. They were partying the night before the games. And I mean, we've heard stories from Jim Otto, which was pretty awesome. It was like, oh my God, how do these guys like just dominate? Because they just didn't care. It wasn't like this cookie cutter persona. And that's like the reason why the Raider Nation is what it is, because they were always the underdog, but they just dominated the league so much that it was amazing just to watch them just go out in the field and do their thing. And, I think the fans just, really carried on from that. I mean, going to Oakland, you guys have been there for Oakland, and, you go in the parking lot and you just see so many different cultures, coming in, and they didn't matter. It's like Raider Nation it's like a brotherhood of love, and, just representing, it's just like, that's what a Raider fan is. Raider fan is, just a passionate, the grit, who cares what the NFL is going to tell you, who you are. It's just like, I'm just going to go out and do my thing and be dominant.
That's awesome. And Leonard, I'm going to have you ask Charles this after you answer. I want to hear it from both of you guys, but has being a Raider fan like influenced you outside of football in any way?
So the question is, has being a Raider fan influenced you outside of football? Charles, I'm going to go ahead and answer first. So yeah, definitely. I mean, growing up, number one, being a Raider fan, I just remember being a kid and everybody was jumping on the Steelers bandwagon, because back then when I was a kid, everybody loved the Steelers. They were winning Super Bowls. So it was just something that, being, being a Mexican American kid, growing up in Southern California, going to pretty much a predominantly, all white Catholic school. I think I was like maybe one of two Mexicans in my class, but it was just it was interesting just to see, I've always been the underdog. I'm only 5'4", so it was just like I'm always the underdog I was always considered the underdog, but just I've always taken on that Raider mentality of just like, it doesn't matter, like, your color, it doesn't matter your skin, it doesn't matter your height. You just go out there and dominate, what you want to do.
What about Darth Raider?
There has been some kind of uniqueness before, it's all said and done. Just the way Al Davis actually formed this team itself, not really asking, but taking from being a coach to setting boundaries with the players, whether it being color, race, it didn't matter to him. This kid out of New York, he did it by will. It was all by force, and it was all done uniquely through his way. These guys weren't the regular players out of high school or regular players out of the NFL. They were crazy men. They were unique. They were different. They went to different schools. They were a different race. They're a little bit rougher on the edges, and you could just see that over and over again. It was always unique, and the players still try to personify. I think back in the day too, the players didn't really know. I mean, the culture's been so long ago, but I from what I heard is they show them videos of how it used to be, and what it means to be a Raider. And once you are a Raider, there's that saying of once a Raider, always a Raider. So it's long lasting, and it won't go away anytime soon.
Yeah. Real quick, because this is a fan driven show, we want to recognize the chat. Jason, you want to go down the list? And
so to our guest Leonard, and if you can relate to Darth Raider, we're going to go through some of our chat, recognize some of our regulars and whatnot that are in here. If you could do us a favor and just give a shout out and a salute to them. A lot of these guys are very familiar with you. Sacktown Mike's in the house right now with us. He's an OG Raider fan, season ticket holder in the black hole. I'm going to shout out to Sacktown Mike.
Yes.
We have
Darth, can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, yeah. So if you go to the comments section, we just want to recognize and shout out to our fans that are there. Sacktown Mike, he's the dark side, one of our dark side guys. I'm sorry, black hole. Sorry, and then we have Kenny as well. We want a big shout out to him as well. So if you go to your comments, Charles, you can see the comments that they're making. So we want to recognize and thank you guys. Hey, thank you guys for being on. I appreciate that. And any questions you have about like the dark side and our stuff, feel free to put it in the comments. I love the Kenny, your the QB must go down and go down hard. That was like always one of my favorite.
Yeah.
Hell
This gentleman here,
yes.
this gentleman here, 805 Raiders, another content creator, very large
We salute you
following.
guys.
He's based out of Las Vegas. Really knowledgeable Raider fan, longtime Raider fan, and he's a big fan of your guys' as well. So he's kind enough to join us today in the chat. If you ever get a chance, and if you're into watching content creators on YouTube, some of the Raider fans, he's a real good one. He does film breakdown, and he's a former. He's got 23 years of coaching experience under his belt. So he's very knowledgeable. So if you ever want like a little insight, little nuggets here and there, he's got great takes, great ones, and he's goofy as all get up. But I love the man. He's a great
805
guy.
Raider. If you come by our tailgate, we're in parking lot F at the games right before the games. We'd love to chat with you. We actually have Lincoln Kennedy there. He comes to our tailgates. And we would love to like have you there at least to stop on by or talk and pick your brain and just see where you're at and just come have some food and drink, man.
Yeah. And then we have the skipper of our production company here, 401 Raider Jeff. He's the Black Hole president. If you guys ever go to New England, get in touch with him. He sets up the Black Hole chapter. They do a really good tailgate. They did one this year for the first game. Mm-hmm. He's more than willing. His hospitality is unmatched when it comes to having Raider fans come across the globe to hang out in New England. We will be in New England again next year. So if you guys plan on going out there, keep that in mind. I'll give you contact information to reach out to him, and you guys can join him in his tailgate and have a good time. There's some really good fans. Captain Jack is one of his close contacts. We follow him on Captain Jack's YouTube channel as well. Great guy. OG, love the man. And then this guy here is one of our regulars. Don't say the whole name, please. Just say Jack. Shout out to him.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. Yeah, we'd love to. Depending on when the schedule, obviously we look at the schedule and, we won't know until May, but we'd love to go out to, New England and do the tailgate out over there and join you guys.
Are you guys planning on doing the draft this year?
It's possible. I want to check. I got to double check the dates. I know I have a lot of travel, so I do a lot of travel around the nation as well. So it all depends on work. I mean, some of us have to, work as well. Right. So it all depends on when and where I'm going to be this year. But I know Darth, the same thing with work with him as well. We would love to be there. I mean, it's going to be a big draft. We got the number 1 pick, so a good chance we'll be there.
And shout out to Severe Raider, another content creator on YouTube.
Another content, yes. This is my guy right here.
Yeah.
You ever get a chance to check him out? He does a 50-50 show with Pharaoh, which is really good. I believe on Sunday nights is when they do it, usually after the game. I don't know about you guys, but once the game's over, I like to dig into the post-game shows, man, and start watching it. Just it seems like from Sunday till Wednesday, I'm just digesting everything. And then Wednesday afternoon, I kind of take a break a little bit. And then Thursday, it's like they kick off Thursday Night Football. But if you can get a shout out to them, to Severe Raider.
Nice. Thank you, guys. Hey, appreciate you guys tuning in and, just being a part of this. It's kind of cool because, there is a lot of content out there. And, I mean, we love to be involved with, whoever shows or whoever's putting it out. I mean, obviously it's the camaraderie right here that we have, talking about the Raider Nation. So, big shout out to you guys. Thank you.
Yeah. And talking about that first round pick, and obviously our recent memories of Raiders have been a lot of losing. How do you guys process after a devastating loss?
So Charles, the question is, I'm sorry, say that one more time, Duncan.
So with Raider Nation not being very successful in recent memory, how do you guys process the losses, especially after a devastating one?
Darth, with the Raiders, with the recent losses that we've had and stuff, how do we process through, what's going to happen to the Raider Nation?
Been there, done that. Jamarcus Russell, if you guys remember, I'm sure you do, was the worst of the worst of the worst. There's comparison this year, but if you look at the stats, and if you guys remember, like I do, it was Monday night against the Saints. Aaron Brooks, I think, was the quarterback that eventually led up to the starting of Jamarcus, and we had a bed and breakfast offense commandeered by Art Shell and his OC, which I forget. And it was so basic. The plays were basic. The players were basic. It was the most vanilla of the vanilla. Granted, you have a good argument this year with Geno. Receivers that can't get open, offensive line that can't block, defense that can't hold anybody, couldn't stop much. But we had flashes of greatness. There are some key players. I mind people. There's the negative talk. Of just the Raiders just gonna screw up the draft anyways. Not true. Just a few years ago, it was Brock Bowers. Ashton Genty has some promise. Max Crosby is still there. We're getting some good players. We got some little pieces, but you just have to have faith, like we always have for decades at end. It was just a few years ago. Me and Leonard were freezing our ass off in Cincinnati when they made the playoffs. And to me, it wasn't that long ago. I mean, it's for others it was eternity, but I remember that. Me and Leonard had some whiskey to keep warm, but I just felt blessed that we actually got there with Derek Carr, no less. And it was just a good situation to be. So it's really things turn around so quickly in the NFL that you just you can't tell. You got Bo Nix with the Broncos there. They're, fairly new. You have Chicago that just came up with the corner that we wanted with Ben Johnson. It changes around like that. So you just got to have faith. You have to have faith in the draft, and you got to have faith in the people that are actually putting behind the picks, But I guess that's our job, too, to promote who we want. And right now, I could hear the whole nation. It's going to be a riot if we don't pick that guy, Fernando.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And to piggyback off of Darth, it's like we had that Jamarcus Russell, who we thought was going to be our savior, and so it's kind of that cautious of picking Mendoza. And at first I was kind of hesitant. Obviously, I watched his last game, and he kicked ass. And I was like, okay, we got to pick him. But we need that leadership. We need that strong. We need that strong coach to have that winning mentality. Because I've been watching some tape, just previous Raiders tape, and that's just one thing that we that made us successful in the past was just having that winning mentality. Now we're in Vegas, so there's many, those of you guys who've been to Vegas, you're like, oh, I'm going to go to this show. I'm going to go see Santana. I'm going to go to Sphere. I'm going to go here. But it's just there's so many distractions. And I think maybe our players are distracted, and maybe that's why, or not all of them, but, most of them are probably distracted. And maybe that's why we're not on the field executing like we should. But we need a strong leader. We need a strong coach. Thank God for Max Crosby and Bowers, to put us in there. I think Mendoza, has the right attitude to have that winning mentality. But we got to change our culture, because I think we've kind of lost ourselves. Just looking at maybe some of the comments, Pete Carroll leaving, and if you guys watch the press conferences afterwards, it's just okay, Pete Carroll's saying the same thing over and over every week. It was okay, that's not working. What's going to work? We want to see that change, and we got to see that change in the culture. The last time I saw that was when we had John Gruden back in 21. So
give us an identity. With leadership comes the identity.
Yeah, we need a coach that's going to get in there and say, you know what, this is what we're doing. This is it. You know, this is, we're going back to winning. You know, it's the same thing that we had with John Gruden. So obviously there's some things going on with him, and hopefully the NFL and him work it out. But I would love to see John back. You know, I know everybody's saying John and Harbaugh, but, you know, who knows if he's going to want to come in there. But we need a strong coach to just come in there and just tell our players, like, this is it. This is how we're going to win. Get back to the Raider way.
Have an identity.
Yeah.
So a little housekeeping real quick before we go further, because we're still having communication issues with Darth. What I'm going to do is I'm going to throw the questions into the banners. So if we have to ask Darth a question, throw it in the banner. He could read it and then go from there. And then that'll way with it. So we'll just start with this one right here. This question here, if you can just go ahead and. Can he read? Can you see that?
Darth, can you see that down below? Just look down below. You see if you can answer that question, Darth.
Hard to read in this damn thing, but do my best here.
Why do you believe Raider Nation travels better and louder than any other fan base in sport?
Oh, come on, man. Just look at the history. The history of that's why they call it Raider Nation. Just ask LA SoFi. And before that, it was San Diego. You know, they're crummy ass fans. They didn't show, so we had to represent, and it just turned the whole stadium upside down. And it's just not only the other place. You know, you got to New York, they got a New York chapter, they got a Texas chapter, et cetera, et cetera. It just keeps going. It's because of our identity that we built so many years ago. And I kind of think it really gathered around when kind of like our second era of Oakland in 95, because, it was a little bit cheaper back in the day, but, we had a good team and they're dedicated. I think of those early 2000s of how it used to be. It seemed like a little bit longer than, visually seen, but it was a great thing. And I think the NFL was back because so many people enjoyed, us whooping ass again. It may have took so long, but man, was it worth it, man. And I remember it like it was yesterday. Rich Gannon and Timmy and Rice and Romanowski just taking souls. And it was just a great era. And I think that kind of started and just, the passion just increased. And even before that, and it's definitely good for the NFL, because not only do I see from Raider fans that want to take a picture with me and Leonard and be around the tailgate, but it's like from people from around the world. We've gotten people from as far as Japan, Mexico, Scotland, Ireland, etc.
Shout out to Avocasi Raider from Australia.
All over the world. It almost feels like the World Cup, and Leonard can speak to that. Like it's pretty much kind of like almost the same environment, just crazy. But it's definitely something unique. We got if you guys know Crusader Raider, he's from England, and he comes pretty much every year. Also a Hall of Fame player, mascot like me, and he keeps doing it, and that's all the way across the pond. It's just like, where else is that like that in the world, and it's just something unique, and it's something that's just going to carry on throughout the years as they go by. So we built it, and it's just going to keep on going.
Yeah. And then Severe Raider posted a question for you guys. It says, as you guys have been going to all the games for many years, what do you think would put more silver and black butts in the seats of Allegiant?
Yeah, so definitely winning. I mean, that's primarily it. You even talk to the culture there in Las Vegas, and we're trying to bring that Raider passion to the Las Vegas fans as well. And it's just like you want them in those seats. You want the locals to just be a part of it. And it's almost like we're training them how to be like fans, of the Raider Nation, and I just think, obviously number one is the winning is going to put them there. But then, it's also the personal stuff. I mean, like Max Crosby's donating, millions of dollars for the homeless, and Mark Davis is hiring the homeless to help clean the stadium. And, you do just little things like that. I think eventually, it's growing. It's going to grow eventually, but winning's obviously the number one thing. And that's the one thing about Las Vegas fans is there's a lot of expats there. So, they want winners, they want like the Golden Knights, or the Aces, that the people that are winning. So they want a winning team. So we just got to bring them that formula.
No.
Yeah. Shout out to I'm Not Bueno, joined us, one of our OGs on our chat here. I'm Not Bueno. Thank you guys. Thank you for joining us. Next one for Darth, and then we'll get into some Leonard questions. Go ahead, Leonard, if you can read that to him.
Darth, how would you explain the Raiders' mystique to someone who's never understood
it? Somebody that's never understood it. Well, you're gonna have to have a love of kind of both things when it comes to me, the uniqueness of Star Wars itself, but it's just something different. It's just something different outside of sports, and it has been throughout. You go outside of the Raiders, they just do things differently. Like I mentioned, it's a fan base that's unique around the world. It'll never be duplicated. It could come from so many different places outside of the world, and again, we built it. It's something that will keep people interested from around the world, and no other fan base kind of does what we do and has the passion for this long. And it's just something unique outside of football that we do and carry, and people love and they gain respect throughout the years. This kind of aura around us, and fan base, wasn't just made up yesterday. It was built through time. I just put down a poster of saying team of the decades, as it used to be said. They used to win more whoop ass more than any other team, where it was just like their winning percentage was just off the charts. And Al Davis made sure to let everybody know. So it was just like, you may have Super Bowls, but we're winning from this time up. And, it was a good run when he was still alive. And he was proud of that. And, I had to kind of put it down, because sometimes you got to let go of the past. But I think to somebody that wasn't, they just have to look over the history. Remember, they did things differently. Cheat a little bit, hit a little bit harder. Case in point, you could still see a tackle by Filippiano versus OJ. That's just, I think that personifies and identifies what a Raider is. He basically gets his helmet and he just twists it off, practically his whole fucking head. And they just do things differently. Look at Jack Tatum's freaking tackles themselves. That's nobody tackles like that anymore, man. And it could have been illegal, but they didn't care. Madden, they say there's that story of they water down the field, and you're cheating. He's like, yeah, okay, we cheated. Yeah, what are you gonna do about it? And that's what identifies the Raiders, and the legendary players themselves. What I hold on to myself lately is the reason why we haven't been as great as we used to be is the linemen. The linemen are kind of what we identify as the Jim Ottos, the Art Shells, the Gene Upshalls. They weren't just good linemen. They are legendary linemen. And when you had those guys blocking for you and coming off pulls and situations where a safety or corner was on them, that's your ass. That's your ass right there. Linemen were everything. And we tell Lincoln that too. We're glad that you carried that on, because he didn't get beat either, man. He was deadly. Maybe a nice guy when you ever meet him, man, but just tell him to tell you about the stories. There's some evil shit that went on. And I think that's just all linemen too. And I think that's where we have to center around our draft in the future. But yeah, it's another story.
Yeah. You guys both talking about how Raider Nation was so spread out and wide, and like different people you've met. Leonard, Is it safe to assume that you could see Raider Nation as not just another fan base, but also like maybe a second family?
Oh yeah. So the Raider Nation definitely extends outside of, the USA. And I've known that just by meeting so many fans that have come to Oakland and Vegas over the years. It's just, they say, hey, I'm from, France, or I'm from Sweden. And, big shout out to our Swedish family over there. We got a following out over there as well as Crusader Raider, representing England as well. But met so many different fans from around the world, and it's amazing. I think my first indication how Raider Nation was so great was I was in France in '98 for the World Cup, and I'm just looking out my window. I have my Raider cap on, and I hear Raiders, and I'm like, where did that come from? I was like, I'm here for the World Cup, and I'm hearing Raiders calls, it was awesome. I was like, oh my god, it's so great, But yeah, it's it's just amazing just to have like that affirmation of like these fans coming from all around the world, not only just like the USA. Like, we have our chapter up there in Boston and or Rhode Island, and our chapters all around the country. It's just, I think I was even in Austin. I was there working, and the Raiders were playing the Broncos. That was a game we lost 10-7, that close game where we should have won that game. But it was just like I was there for at the Austin chapter. But it's just amazing, like how it just feels like family. It feels like family when you're there around Raider fans from around the country and around the world. We're all family, and that's like one of the greatest feelings to have as a Raider fan.
Hey, I'm gonna real quick. Some of the guys in the chat. James Purple, one of our guys, he's joined us. Frank Weber, salute guys. If you guys can give them a shout out here, I'm not bueno. Frank Weber is in the house.
Thanks, Frank. Welcome, Frank.
We got
Frank.
Robert. We got Robert.
Robert Pena is in
What
the
up,
house.
Robert? Dark side.
And then the ultimate James Furpo. We always have to do this for James because it's just natural.
Raiders.
Love it. Hey, I want to find out like who of the fans is going on the Raider cruise, because we're my wife and I. So we'll be on the Raider cruise in March. So are there any fans here that are going on the Raider cruise? Put in the chat so we can.
Here's for me. I'm actually contemplating digging up some scratch and going to the draft.
Awesome.
So
who's
that's
going to the draft? We want to find out who's going to the draft.
Yeah. My daughter's getting married this year, so I got to kind of sneak some money in there without somebody knowing.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Anybody else? Hey, you guys in the chat, man, have at it. Throw some questions in there. We're going to get back to it. Next question here. We're gonna go with Darth Raider. Darth, if you could just let him know that this.
The Darth Raider. How does it factor into Raider fandom, and why do fans wear it almost like armor?
Well, hey man, you got to be tough around these parts. You don't never know what's going to be thrown at you. You know what? The only time it was like meant for armor basically was maybe in Oakland, man. Those fools. You're talking 95 when fandom was probably the craziest because they were just so happy to get the team back from LA. I mean, they had people just hit me on the back of the head like, "Let's go, Darth fucking Raiders!" Bah! And I was just like, "Where's this fool?"
It was a different time.
There's some kind of idiots in Vegas here and there. Me and Leonard had to take care of it. I thought maybe this is the time I have to whoop some ass, but luckily he backed down. So, but yeah, mostly for the most part, people are cool. With the exception of sometimes even players. I'll remember me and Kelsey just going back and forth, Junior Seau, giving the finger, just fucking the wrestling, just, suck it kind of stuff, and, just jawing. Kittle, I think, was that asshole too. I mean, there were just so many people just jawing right back. But I mean, that's what just makes Raider Nation great, man.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Do you think, Leonard, if you can ask him, do you think the presence of our character fans in the stadium, along with everybody else in silver and black, do you think that played some type of intimidation factor to the other teams?
Yeah. So Darth, he's asking if our super fans played some intimidation during, in the stadium with the other teams.
Oh, big time. Yeah. They're people don't say, they hardly see you or whatever, but they definitely, I could see them kind of catch eyes. Even this foggy ass mask, I could see their attention kind of just gather. Even when I'm watching the game, like I'm, as you know, Leonard, freaking, banging my lightsaber against the the stands, and they could hear that. They could hear that. Any kind of sound, any kind of display of craziness or whatever, that's going to make a difference, because it's a game of seconds, right? It's a game of inches. It's a game of attention. So if you could take their mind away from that, and they can focus on you, us, black hole, dark side, crazy ass fans, just in general, it's going to make a difference. And I always thought about that, over the years. We definitely matter, and we're right in the front for them to see. And I can see their attention sometimes. They're just like, what the fuck is this? Like, they don't know where they're at. They'll know eventually. If they don't know me before, they're definitely going to know about me, us, Dark Side, Raider fans after the game. So it's a great thing.
Now, Leonard, with a lot of great past memories and success from the old days of the Raiders, what are some lessons from the glory years that the current Raiders could use, like some missing values or something like that?
Oh yeah. So the glory years that our current Raiders need to, and it's funny because like I have this conversation with Lincoln Kennedy. I even asked him, I was like, Lincoln, go back and coach our line, because you were the last great line we had. Raiders. Right. And he's like, I don't want to coach them, but it's there's wow, some of the great memories. I mean, obviously there was that winning attitude, just win, baby. Obviously that's the big one that Al just like put out there. But it was like, don't be afraid to, I like when Antonio Pierce was coaching us. He was like, we're getting back to the grit. We're getting back to that, that toughness that the Raiders are, were used to play. So it's almost like that toughness that we need to do. It's that winning mindset. It just that's that to me. I mean, watching Marcus Allen and Bo Jackson, just dominate on the field back then in the 80s, and it was amazing just to watch them play and just win, and that's, I think, the mindset that we kind of lost a little bit. I mean, we kind of gained part of it back in the late 90s, early 2000s with Rich Gannon, and when Lincoln was playing there, we would talk about stories and like what made the difference. And, he was just saying like the offense, you would not know, and this is when John Gruden was coaching, so you would not know what we'd have 12 different plays from the formation that we were running. And I think the current plays, I mean, whoever coaches it becomes a coach there, we need to adapt that mentality again to just make sure that they just, they say, look, we're going to show you this, but you don't know what we're going to do. And what we're going to do, we're still going to dominate, and that's, I think, a part of what the current players need to do now is they need to make that step and to make that happen, and just to have that like mindset of like, okay, we're going to dominate no matter what we do on the field.
Yeah, no, just trying to bring back that old domination. Like, do you have any coaches in mind currently that you'd like to see as possible head coach?
It's interesting because there's so many coaches that have been thrown out there, and like who's a possibility, and everybody's in. I want a coach with a strong personality. I think that's what we need right now, because in Vegas there's so many distractions going on. We need somebody with like a John. I mean, obviously John is my number one choice, but whether that happens or not, or whether he comes back, or with the NFL going on with him, he's always my number one choice right now. I know John Harbaugh. He's a good coach. I know he's got a strong personality too, but the Raiders gotta look at him and say, look, we need you to just tell the players this is what you're doing. They need that dominant coach, whoever it is. He needs to have that strong personality just to change things around in our culture right now.
Yeah. How about
we also Ben Johnson was the most sought out coordinator last year for the Detroit Lions. Now, he turned that damn team around where I really thought they weren't going to be what they are now. And the Bears actually won their first playoff game in I don't know how long. So when you're looking at the coordinators now, you're seeing, all right, who's making the most freaking trouble right now for teams, and that'd be Seattle. And that coordinator Kubiak, I think, deserves to be promoted as well. So that's kind of my choice, maybe my first choice above Harbaugh. Harbaugh, I mean, we Harbaugh will give us something tough. I think you're good with either side and who he's going to pick, but Kubiak could definitely, is hungry enough, or he could, create a culture. And I think Ben Johnson was in the same spot, so maybe we should do that again. And just find a young, hungry coordinator, and hopefully if Brady could get the hell out of the way, and we could figure out, who he wants as coordinator and defense and et cetera, et cetera. That might have been a problem last year, too. There were so many different parts, and I think Brady was involved with Chip Kelly. You know what happened to him. So it's like you need a coach that's just going to install a culture and have freedom. And if we give a coordinator, somebody like that, the keys, then who knows, where we could go. So we definitely need to find our identity again. But hopefully he's that kind of guy, or somebody like that, just a hungry coordinator that just wants to dominate as a head coach.
Yeah, I kind of piggyback off of you guys that I'm so appreciative of what John Gruden did for us in the early 2000s. And even his second trip, you can start to kind of see some semblance. They were starting to it was starting to cook until the whole email scandal took its course. And but in the long run, I think that with Gruden, I think we would be taking ourselves backwards again. And we are already our roster is already at an expansion team quality. So that roster has to be built. There's some good pieces there that we could build off, but there's more that needs to be added, right? And then ultimately, you guys being a Raider fans as long as I have, is having that franchise quarterback that we can pull off the stage in Pittsburgh and say he's ours, and we are going to run with him. And just like every good franchise has that quarterback that is our face of our franchise as far as comes to quarterbacks, that we can say we drafted him, we developed him, he played, he took us to the promised land, is Kenny Stabler. Mm-hmm. Everything else we've borrowed from other people to put the team together. But I think now we deserve that quarterback that from day one we can call our own. So we'll get a couple more questions here. I got them in the banners. If you want to rock with it there, Mr. If you can have Darth Raider answer that question. Oop, took it off the screen too soon. There we go.
All right, Darth, can you answer this question here?
What's up?
Could you answer this question? What does the image of the old black hole inspire or haunt the Raider Nation?
Oh, always inspire, man. Those guys were the most passionate, man. Along with the dark side, those guys, it was scary in Oakland, man. You didn't want to go in that section wearing that different jersey. They might throw you off, throw you onto the field. I've heard stories of fights. I've seen fights just in
Yeah.
general. Even in our head zone, the dark side, it's just it was just a different brand of fan in Oakland, man. So off to Vegas we go, and there's a little few of us, but they can still hear us, and then we're still they still know where we're at. They still give us their own section. They still give us respect, and still people come from around the world. Granted, we need more fans that kind of like our mainstay, that just stay around for a while. I know it's hard being from Vegas because it's not really quite a place where people live, but we're working on it, man, just to find those fans that are just as passionate as we are. So it's a work in progress, this Black Hole 2.0. We're trying our best. As long as me, Leonard, Gorilla, Violator, we're still there. Hey, man, Black Hole and Dark Side still live and exist. So it's not going to go anywhere anytime soon. Dark Side.
What about you, Leonard?
Yeah, I mean, so behind the scenes, it's just like when we went from Oakland to Vegas. I mean, we definitely wanted to bring that intimidation to Vegas. Unfortunately, it didn't happen with the sales that we wanted, and they kind of broke up the black hole of we just wanted to dominate like that whole section. And but I think it's still, just like Dar said, it's still an inspiration that we have that that the mentality of just like intimidation, and it's like, okay, you're coming to our house, it's our house. So we just got to get more seats, as we had talked about earlier, into the stadium. So it's not, you see a lot of opposing. I mean, just something you would never see in Oakland. We want to just have more of that influence there. So, I mean, we sit in section 124. So, we want it black. We want everybody black. We want the intimidation there. We want everybody talking. Darth leads us in the 1, 2, 3 first down. So, every time Raiders get a first down. So we want that, in that section. If you're going to sit in that section, hey, bring it on. Let's do that. Let's inspire, the Raiders for a win.
All right. So next question, if you can have Darth read that question, and then you can follow up with it as well. And then we're going to start to get into a little free flow with Duncan here in a little bit.
Okay. So Darth, how do legends like Al Davis, Madden, and Flores still cast a shadow over the modern Raiders?
They'll always be remembered. They'll never be replicated, man. Those guys, especially John Madden. As long as that, I mean, just the game itself teaches kids throughout the years how to play football, how to learn about football, learn about schematics, plays. Flores transpired what it means to be a Mexican American, and finally be noticed. Sometimes you feel like in this society we're still not noticed for the hard work that we did and are doing. But from way back in the day, he transpired a whole culture, and it definitely wasn't highlighted throughout other teams what it means to be someone of color and to dominate in the fashion that they did. And he was an inspiration at all that just still carries. It's kind of like a tie to a little bit Fernando, the fact that he's Latin. So they're trying to, already compare a little bit too. But it's not even so. I mean, we're so different and unique that it's they expect us to take as sort of the out of the ordinary. And we're still continuing that legacy. We'll always think outside the box while somebody else is thinking the standard way of doing things. But those guys will always be remembered, and we'll always carry on that legacy as long as we're alive. We preach their memory and their beliefs. And that's what Raider Nation's about, carrying on the legacy.
So how did this is going to be for both of you guys now. We're going to go transition into the cross interview here. How did the Raiders rebuild their identity in today's NFL without losing their edge? And Duncan, if you can check private chat real quick.
Yep.
Yeah, so Darth, the question is, how do the Raiders rebuild their identity in today's NFL without losing their edge?
Offensive line, offensive line, offensive line. We need some guys that can take souls, man. You see power running back in the days. You have to build through the trenches. You have to look at the linemen that actually can make a difference. The reason why we were so bad last year, you look at 3 offensive linemen that were gone, including Jax Powers, a guy that we drafted. Colton Miller, was missing. Meredith. It seemed like the whole line was practically out by the end of the season. Granted, Gino did, fuck up in some instances as well, as you reminded me, Leonard. But and the whole Raider Nation. But it starts. You gotta build with the trenches, man. It's totally key to me. Just to see what other teams are doing, and it's. I mean, it's just the Niners. I know all you guys wanted to Philadelphia, including me. But you look at the line, man. I mean, Trent Williams is, they were losing without him. And sure enough, a tackle was there. They started winning. And he's rough. And you need that kind of toughness as well. I go as far, just Colton would have made a difference. Jax Power is going to make a difference. And after this quarterback situation is felt, you have to really build them. Ashton Genty himself is, he had a record 1,300 yards for, all scrimmage yards. Just imagine what we could do with, some good linemen, some freaking, guys could really seal the deal and push those D linemen like they're on roller skates. It was apparent and visible back in the day, and it could be done again. It could be done again. You just need help. You need help immediately. So Ashton can get through some holes. Our quarterback can get some time, and build from there. That's where it starts, man. It's build through the trenches, offensive line.
Yeah, I have to agree with Darth. That's one thing. I was watching the Seattle Niners game, the last one they played. And we saw the guards pulling back in, it was Seattle line pulling. And that's just like one thing the last Raiders that played with Lincoln Kennedy around that time, Adam True, who came by our tailgate as well. We were talking about what made our line so great back then. And we had those pulling guards. I mean, and you saw that. Seattle dominate with their line by doing that as well. Is we definitely need to. I think we just need to start pulling again. We need that dominance in the line, and that's going to make the difference. It's going to make the difference in our blocking. It's going to make a difference in our run, especially our running game with Ashton. I think if we have a good, solid offensive line, he's going to have like record-breaking seasons.
Yeah, completely agree. Offensive line makes everything. Even in the second half of Antonio Pierce's last year, when we changed offensive coaching staffs, we started going more back to that power run game.
Yeah.
It just allowed our offensive line, even though they weren't the greatest, it allowed them to be aggressive and just get after people. Yeah. This new wave of zone blocking to make it look like you're passing the ball or running the ball. Just, I don't know. It seems like it takes the edge off the offense.
Yeah.
That being said, with our future possibly looking bright with a turnaround with this first overall draft pick, like not only the players playing well, but the culture of that locker room, like it always seems like it's missing something. Like, what do you guys think could ignite that culture to be great again in the locker room?
Okay, could you post that up so I can read it to Darth? Because
yeah.
So what do you think the culture is going to be like? What is culture just as important as quarterback to play for this franchise? when you look at the 5 years ahead, what must be true for the Raider Nation to believe again?
Definitely the identity, what everybody sees. When I preach offensive linemen, they want to hear about quarterback. I know what Raider Nation wants, and I know what they're singing about. I know what they're wishing for, and it's Fernando. But I just hope the higher ups are listening. I think you almost need to assess like more even too, like a defensive wise. Our defense isn't the best. Corners can be upgraded. Linebackers looks like we're okay with Devin White having a good year. But scheme wise, but there has to be a mentality of just toughness. And like I said, besides the line, it's just everybody has to do their part. An upgrade in receivers as well, who really aren't really mentioned a lot. And I kind of wonder, what I would defend Gino. That's sort of my job to sort of, be the super fan. But it wasn't like not too long ago, Gino had 10 wins with the Seattle Seahawk. And you ask why? How did it change so drastically? Well, receivers. He had Jigba, and he's had Lockett, and he had DK Metcalf. So that could actually make a quarterback as well. Granted, let's say we do get somebody of Fernando or a veteran this caliber, who's going to throw to besides Brock. You need to upgrade a receiver as well. Usually that goes hand in hand, but what comes first? I think again you got to build in the trenches to give him time. Then you look for that receiver, and it's a high priority, man. I mean, let's be honest. There's a lot of holes to fix, but it can be managed. It can be managed with the right placement and taking priority by priority and building within. Again, Chicago just changed just like that with a different coordination and just a few things here and there. But he's just, Caleb Williams is a young sophomore quarterback is whooping ass with a couple tight ends, a receiver here or two, and, Swift, a good running back. And, it's just the foundation. I mean, we kind of got that, a little bit. We have a little bit of that. We have stars in certain places with Ashton and Brock. It's just fill it out with some linemen, a receiver here or two, maybe a veteran. There's even a center out of Baltimore I was looking at. That's actually he's going to be a free agent. So you also have to look at, what if Raider Nation, by any means, they're talking about quarterbacks here and there, like leaving Burrow and Lamar. I was like, is that possible? So, I mean, it really makes you have to think about that. If we actually get one of those guys, then what's the draft pick going to be? So we'll see. A lot of things to figure out, but I'm sure there's many opinions coming. But make sure to listen to them all, Raider Nation. Just don't see Fernando and dance in the streets. There's a whole team to fill.
Yeah.
What say you, Leonard?
Yeah, so I definitely need that leadership, and I mean, looking at Fernando, I mean, he's probably the obvious choice for the first round, and we do need that franchise quarterback, and it seems as if he has that leadership, with his team, and and I see that is like the main thing to turn around our team is, we need that leadership. Obviously, we need that leadership with our coach, but then we also need our leadership with our quarterback. And it's something we didn't get with Gino. Obviously him flipping off fans or, just like not even high-fiving fans when they're coming out. I mean, it just, you didn't see that leadership or that like strong mental, like, hey, I'm here in the grit with all of you guys, with my team, with my fans. I think, and granted, hopefully Mendoza, I don't believe he's anything like Jamarcus, I'm hoping that, but it just really lead us. And, and he shows that leadership with Indiana right now. So if he brings that leadership skills onto our, into our culture, I think, him with Brock and with
Genty.
Matt, and Genty, and I think it's a solid, it could be a solid, like a turnaround for what we need.
Now, with this big turnaround, obviously a new coaching staff, possibly Mendoza, hopefully Mendoza. How patient should us Raider fans be to give them time? And when does it come to a line in the sand where, okay, now patience is over?
Yeah. So the patience with the fans, I mean, obviously we've been waiting since 83. So that was our last. And Raider fans are probably the most loyal. Yeah, we've been through all these coaches, we've been through all these changes. And I think we just, we got to stick it out. We got to wait till the next coach come. And I mean, obviously we give it another. I mean, I thought Pete Carroll was going to probably last maybe at least 2 years, but I kind of agree with the current with Vitek, and it's like, yeah, you know what, you see. I look at like how they react after the game. It's just like, okay, what changes are being made, and there were not really that many changes. I mean, Carroll wanted to stay with Gino after the fact, after we lost, and there was no changes. So it's like we've got to have those. We got to have those changes. We need a coach. We need that culture of like, okay, if this is not going to work, let's do something else. At least you're trying something else. I mean, there's a lot of players we drafted that we didn't even use, or we didn't use during the season, or I mean, I like I said, I would like to see. I mean, obviously, if you're a Raider fan for life, you're gonna. It's like with anything, you're gonna go through the good, the bad. I mean, look at the Steelers. They haven't won a championship in years, but it's just like we haven't won either. But we just got to find the right, just the right chemistry between our team. And I think once we get that, we'll be on board. But I think it's good. We've had the worst season ever, and there's nowhere to go but up now. That's how I feel.
Yeah. Can Darth add on to that?
Can you add on to that, Darth?
Oh, definitely. You definitely have to be patient. All these things. Pete Carroll, from what I've read, was treating the team like it was like a playoff team already. It was a fast track and sort of like, oh, we're just going to compete right off the bat. He's kind of puff out his chest a little bit with, I have 10 wins throughout my career, and I'm just going to do it again. But it was just kind of blowing smoke, because little do we know, Chip Kelly was aboard, and he didn't sign on to Chip Kelly. So when we have guys kind of going in different directions and wondering what they're going to run, it's flux. It's misunderstood. It's not communicated well throughout all coaches and personnel. So, and I think in the end we heard, on the inside from media and people that we know, that the players didn't like Chip Kelly. So it was just like, we need a coach that instills every part of the game, and you definitely need to be on the same page. It is different, with ownership and other people kind of making different choices, but we really need to establish that identity. We need to find that. It took a while for Derek Carr and his crew to sort of to build that for a while. People hated him. I kind of remember we have a clear recollection of just hatred, talk about the dark side. But, I knew he was a Pro Bowler. He was a Pro Bowler quarterback. And if he stayed with the same system, that's how you win games, when you're familiar with the system. Look at Tomlin. That's just been let go, good 19 years. So, I know Raider Nation doesn't want to wait that long, but I mean, some coaches, it just connects like that. And if you really have a good product, granted, it might not be the first year or second, but, it could be, the second, but you just have to be patient and wait until we find an identity and just piggyback off it, man. Right now it's just kind of Ashton and Brock and Max and those players that are part of that identity so far, but we just got to help them out, man, with a good quarterback, maybe some more defenders, a corner here and there, to establish what Raider Nation and the Raiders used to be. Need to find that identity, definitely.
Yeah. And over the years, I mean, it seems like the NFL's always kind of had it out for the Raiders. I mean, it seems like for the longest time there, even before I was born, NFL always seemed to change rules because of how the Raiders played. Like the Raiders were the trendsetters, and it's been a long time since the Raiders were there. What's one like definite jump that we can use in order to get back to those haymaker days?
Yeah. So wow. Yeah. I mean, I've noticed that. I mean, ever since Al Davis sued the NFL back in the 80s, you know, for moving to LA. Yeah, that was, I definitely saw that too, Duncan. It was just like, you know, well, I don't know if you were even born around the 80s or maybe you're not.
93.
Okay, yeah, you were. So you didn't see it beforehand. It's like, you know, Jason and I, we seen it. It was like we saw that, you know, the calls, like all these people, like, where the hell are these calls coming from? And you know, I get it. You know, nobody liked, you know, what Al Davis did back then. And there was definitely calls, I mean, throughout the years. And obviously the Tuck rule was probably the number one eye awakening of the NFL, or at least NFL, you know, fans that would saw, you know, this is just, it's ridiculous. You know, now, you know, it's funny. And I've been saying this ever since then, but it's funny to see like the grid. I think it's the gridiron that comes on and they talk about like the story, how the NFL writes the stories. And it's true, you know, it's just like they have their thing. And, but you know, I think the rules that killed it was, you know, and obviously there was some you know, science to the whole like hit the helmet, you know, and the concussions and, you know, like it affecting the players, which I kind of agree with that, but that's just the way the Raiders played. They played tough, they hit hard, you know, like there was a comment earlier, it was like the quarterback must go down, he must go down hard. You know, it's just like football is not really football anymore. It like what we used to, like what we played. If you played and I played, and you hit, and I'm pretty sure I had a couple concussions as well when I played. But it's just like that's what's changed. Again, the game is more about just scoring, passing. I mean, you look at the players now; they hardly wear any pads, like you know, underneath. There's like no knee pads, no thigh pads. You know, they're just it's a passing game. It's a scoring game, and that's just how it's changed and how it's just different from the way we played football way back then.
Yeah. And then I haven't really heard this talking point since we've moved to Vegas, but before it was even talked about the Raiders moving to Vegas, for the longest time, it was always talked about Vegas will never get an NFL team because all the gambling, the NFL doesn't want gambling, all the distractions and everything. Do you think Vegas is too big of a distraction for the Raiders?
Well, I think Vegas is a distraction for the Raiders, and it's more for like the players. You know, I kind of wondered about that too, as far as like the gambling, because you know when you see points and you see, you know, us, you know, there's a difference in like what the point spread is, and then you know the refs let them kick a field goal at the end instead of making a touchdown, or you know just stuff like that. You kind of wonder about that. I mean, it's something that you know we probably can never prove, but you know, I'm sure there's some sort of like side betting going on or something. And, you know, you hate to see, you know, obviously, you know, I never wanted the Raiders to lose any games. I know, you know, the last, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, you know, I've even heard Raider fans saying, yeah, we want to lose because we want the number one pick. I'm like, no, I want to win. If we get the number one pick, great. If we don't, you know, we don't. But I never want us to lose or throw a game or whatever. So, do I think they're distraction? Yeah, I think there is definitely distraction in Vegas, but it's more like on the outside of what's going on. On the internal stuff, we'll never know. It's just all speculative, you know.
Do you mind asking Charles if he thinks Vegas is a distraction?
What do you think, Darth? Do you think Vegas is a distraction for the players?
Well, you got to ask Henry Ruggs that, man. Henry Ruggs. That's like, you know, I hate to be dark, but it is the dark side. And if I was the Raiders, I'd basically show them, you know, who Henry Ruggs was. I know who players that were there. I know he had a choice. I know he made the wrong choice. And it kind of takes you back, you know, I don't know if you guys remember, but we could have had CeeDee Lamb, the badass that he is. every time I see him, I sort of, it seemed like the clearing. It's kind of like El Fernando. That's why I'm like hoping that we go against like it was right there in front of you, and they went the other way with this fast guy. Who knows what Henry Ruggs could have been, man, with his talent, with his speed, with his skill, which was apparent against Kansas City, man. I mean, he had one of the best games of his life, doing what he does, and Vegas just kind of took him away from different things. And he's not going to be the only guy. There's going to be other players, but we just need people that are just ballers. I think for the most part we have it, but I know some players are going to trickle through, but I think it's part of coaching. I think it's part of the organization to sort of tell them, like, this isn't just for playing, man. I mean, just, go to Max Crosby, man. He's pretty much in Vegas, and go by his resume. He follows greatness. He stays legendary, and he's a good sort of player to sort of want to be like. There are some players out there that just want to ball primarily and just keep it that way. We met, some here or there, but there has to be just more of that. There has to be more of that. Vegas is just, Vegas. Granted, you got a whole off season to mess with if you wanted to do that, but we need more ballers than anything, man. That just, I did see, back in the day off of, I don't know, one of those Instagram posts where Lyman or whoever were messing around in the locker room, smiles, and we have 2 wins.
Oh no, I was just gonna.
They're joking around in the locker room, and they have like a couple wins. I don't want to see you happy. I don't want to see you, messing around playing tag with each other, what have you. That's basically why Pete Carroll didn't. I think it was in particular Caleb Williams and Charles Grant, the linemen that we wanted to see. And they didn't really get highlight. They didn't really get any playing time. And Pete Carroll's like, answer to why aren't you playing them? They're just not ready. They're not ready. And I kind of, the more I see them. And then granted, when they got in, they, actually showed some promise. I rewatch these games. I'm, oh, that's actually a good block. He has some potential here. But, who knows what it could have been if, he could have been more, they could have been more dedicated to the game. It's only their rookie year. They could grow, but that could increase. That could who knows what they could become if they just all become just on the same page, get with the same page, and the atmosphere. But again, we're trying to find that identity, and we just need new players to follow that identity once it's there.
Yeah, and Frank Weber, who posted there, I agree with you. Blanda would have kicked Gino's ass back then, and that's what you need. We've heard stories like, especially Jim Otto's stories, is like how they would just like, what the fuck are you doing? And I mean, Max just probably needs to be more vocal, or maybe Brock needs to be more vocal, and we just need that more those players just to hold the other players accountable. It's like, hey, get up off your ass. There's a lot of shit going on here in Vegas, but hey, we're here to win. Let's get it going.
Yeah, definitely. And then Charles ended up bringing up Max Crosby. Obviously, we're in another off season, so that comes with more Max Crosby. The rest of the NFL wants some traded talks. Is it same as usual, or do we start believing those talks?
So the Darth, the question is why Raider Nation never abandons even when ownership, coaches, or players fail. He mentioned Max Crosby. I personally think, it's so funny because I see a lot of stuff, all these posts on Facebook, and it's just like everybody believes everything they see on Facebook, and that's the problem. It's like, unless you're seeing an actual Max Crosby, interview or something, you can't believe everything that you see on Facebook. And that's, I think Raider Nation gets riled up, and then they put stuff out there, and then, it's just like, I know Max is a solid guy, it's like, he's solid. We don't believe the hype, wait till you see his press conference, or, whoever he's, whenever he's presenting live. But if you see the memes, or you see some posts on social media, it's just like, you believe half of it. I mean, until you see him talk, or unless you meet him or talk to him in person, he's always been a pretty solid guy.
One thing to do with Max as well, he's got a podcast, right? It's on Apple. It's everywhere. He makes. He'll tell you just straightforward. And I think the last, I don't know, this is months ago before the kind of blow up, but he was mentioning, they asked him just directly if there was another team he'd play with, who would it be? And he is hesitant in saying because he kind of knew it'd blow up, and guess what it did? He said Detroit because he's from around Detroit. It's where he grew up. So the whole media just expanded. Oh, he wants to be traded. And ever since then, anytime he's mad, anytime he's pissed, it's like red 5. It's a fire drill. And I think he's just going to be dedicated. Granted, he was pissed. You could really tell it from, his interviews that he was pissed. If he was there, it wouldn't have made a difference. We could have won, and it would be no big deal. We won anyways. So he's, he is frustrated, but he just wants to see a change. He's just like everybody else, man. He wants to see a change, and he wants to see something positive that will motivate him, yet again to rekindle that fire. You never got to worry about Max. He's dedicated, and he realizes he's the identity of this team. If there's any stand, I mean he's definitely that kind of guy. He's that dog that just kind of wants to stay, but he's tough. He just wants to win, just like the rest of us, man. He's frustrated, and we're all frustrated, man. We're tired of it, but if we give him some good change. And again, bring that identity. He'll stick around.
Hey, Raider Wolf, we see your post. Thank you. How does Darth Raider feel about all this? Can you be a little more specific on what your question is? Because there's a lot of emotion going on.
While he's digging into the chat on that, Leonard, if you want to expand on it.
On how does Darth feel about all this? I mean,
we'll get your take on it.
About what? Just the whole culture or the Max whole thing? Well,
yeah. It just it is. I mean, like I said, Max is a solid player. I mean, it's I've been very grateful to work with the coaching industry, so I know that having a strong leader and having somebody to lead and even help some of the players that may have been like either just misdirected. On what they want. It's just like, okay, you come into the NFL, you're playing at the top level of your profession. How is it you want to be involved? How do you want to lead? How is it you want to leave? Or how do you want your legacy? It's just like we already know Max Crosby is going to be in the Hall of Fame just because of the quality player that he exudes out there on the field. It's just like, you talk to your teammates. How do you want to be? What can you do to be better? What is it you need to be better? And that's what it is. Like after every game is like, how do you look at yourself? The great thing about like Duncan and working with his uncle, back in the day, it's just like, what good coaches are, they're gonna players like, can you do better? How you can you be better at that level? So that's like I said, Max is a solid player, and we just want to see more players being accountable and up-leveling themselves to be better players and bringing better product on the field.
Raider Wolf just wanted to hear Darth talk.
Yeah, I just want to hear Darth talk. Raider Wolf is saying,
you want to hear the Darth talk? Lord of the Sith, master of all evil, 30 years and counting, dark side. Well, I could just throw my voice and be somebody else, but I prefer dark side. Yeah, Max, to piggyback again, Max, again, he's allowed to be mad just like the rest of us, man. But what do you do? What do you do when you're pissed off? Do you just cry and whine and tweet and bullshit? Or do you actually take it to the gym and you work on yourself? You get better. I'll tell you what, that's what I do, man. I tell everybody after, a loss, it's like, you know what? You got your family, you got your health, you got another team to watch. Find your win. And keep going with it, man. That's always been my mindset. You're going to lose today or whatever, man. How do you get better? How are you betting yourself as a Raider fan? How dedicated are you? You dedicated as me? Well, then try your best. Come at me, bro. And
Yeah.
I mean, everybody. My brother's right. The fact that you have to work to get better, man. Work to get better every single day. Everything you do, man. Max has on his one of his many tattoos, "Be legendary," and be better. And Kobe Bryant is kind of, I know some of you guys are Warrior fans, boo-hoo, but that's one player he aspires to be. And what did Kobe preach every single day? Get better, no matter what you do. So you don't think that fool's in the gym right now thinking about, things, and maybe he even can. I want to hear Max speak out on what he wants. I mean, just think about the possibilities in his mind. What college player does he like? There's, it can't be just from Tom Lady. It can't be just from that fucker that just part ownership. It has to be. I want to hear from Jim Plunkett. I want to hear from Willie, the old Raiders. I want to hear from just the collective. I want to hear from Howie Long. I want to hear from guys that have been Lincoln Kennedy. Oh my God! If you guys really ever get the chance to speak, I mean that guy, he'll give you some ideas. I want to talk about all the ex-Raiders, and then finally come to a decision. I want them all in the room and just to pick the best that we can get and go from there.
Could I expand on this real
Dark
quick?
side.
Yeah.
Let me expand on this real quick, and Leonard, if you could relay to him.
Mhm.
We're at a time in our franchise and as fans, as Raider Nation in of itself, that I know we have Max, right? And Max seems to be that quintessential throwback type player that we've always coveted.
Mhm.
But it's going to take more than just Max.
Mhm.
It's going to take a collective of players to get to buy into his culture, because that's our culture.
Yeah.
Go hard, go fast, hit hard, hit fast.
Mhm.
Right. And so we need to get it. That starts with the running back. That starts with the quarterback. That starts with our offensive line, our defensive line. Max is one out of 11 on the field at any given time. So if you just want to have your brother expand on it, do we need to keep going that way as a traditional Raider culture, or can you see us being more of a CEO type franchise to where we try and win playing by the rules of the NFL?
Mhm. Okay. So I'll try and recap everything. So Darth, we're at the our the nation is at where we have Max as our kind of our representative right now. And so where do we kind of go with that? Do we stay with that type of mentality, or how do we get to the culture of either Max teaching or Max representing for that culture to win? Is that kind of what you're thinking, Jason? Justin?
Yeah.
Jason, sorry. So, Darth, can you answer that question?
Yeah, definitely. It took Jack Powers Johnson, the new lineman, center / guard. He started working out with Max, and that spoke volumes to me. If you want to be great, you follow the great players, and you do what they do, man. There should be more guys like that. I want to see not just Jax. I want to see the entire staff just follow what kind of regimen. I want you to stay after practice. I want you to stay a few more minutes after practice, or even hours after practice, just to be great. It definitely takes a certain mentality to be better than your peers. And I mean, all people see is, the accolades and stats of what Max brings, but you really have to wonder, how did he get that way? And is this just natural? No, man, he's practicing harder. He's working harder. So that fool's probably in the gym right now, man. This is morning, night. Talk about 4 a.m. And if memory serves correctly, that mentality used to be the same of our former coach John Gruden and Gannon. They used to battle each other, trying to get to the office in time earlier so they could get their study on, and it was a competition. So if you instill that in just one Raider and it spreads, and then another, you just have a whole culture of guys working hard to get better. So it starts with the great players. I'd also follow, what the other guys are doing. Well, what's Brock Bowers' resume? Why is he so great? Does he stay after as well? His practice and what his deal? You got to find these better players, and you got to follow what they do, and preach what they do, man. Even even the players that have played in past. Again, we're talking about Lincoln Kennedy. I never seen that guy go down. I watched a lot of tape, man. I still quiz him hey, Lincoln, there had to be somebody that put you down, that pancaked your ass. There had to be. And it was on that London cruise, Leonard, and he was just like, hell no.
Yeah.
And I'd push him like, what about Junior Seau? Maybe he just got you the wrong. He's all, fuck no.
Yeah. I think it was Donald Penn who got decleated, and he's we'd say, did you ever get decleated? He's like, hell no, that never happened to me. But I know Sacktown and Raider Mike was saying, I was lucky enough to talk to Big Link. Yeah, man, he's a great guy. I mean, he's fun to talk with, especially about football. And then Raider Wolf also said, hey, so much better, some good help. It's always on Max. But, sometimes you need a leader like Max to, and that's how it spreads. That's how that really good, that opportunity for them to be better players spread. Just like you see, if you want to be better, like in any of your profession, it's like you're going to look to see somebody who's doing better than you, or who's shed some light. And it's like, what better, hey, if Max is our leader, and we know how solid he is, I was like, follow him, be successful like him. I think DT Raider said, need every player that is on the field to have the same passion. I totally agree with you. I think we've been lacking that passion with our team. I haven't even and you can see it in their eyes. You can see it in their eyes when they come out of the tunnel, and they're high-fiving us and everything. And I know, Darth and I, we're right there. And one of the things I always do when they come by is like, all right, guys, let's go. Let's pump it up. Let's rock it out. Let's do this. Let's go, go full on. I mean, I'm full of positive stuff to get them pumped up to get out there. And you need a player like Max or, Brock or, whoever is going to just elevate them to that level. So it's a lot on Max's shoulders, but hey, he's our savior. I think if we're going to be successful in the future, and this next team that comes up this year, and if Max is leading us, and they just start a little bit of what he wants to do, or hey, it's going to be better than what it did this year.
I think this year with Max is going to be a make or break it type situation. Mm-hmm. I hope we don't trade him. I know there's a lot of rumors that trade. I know there's some Raider fans that said we should trade him and get assets for him. And sometimes that doesn't work out. I mean, the Khalil Mack trade, we did not get anything but Josh Jacobs out of that. He's gone.
Yeah.
And so moving forward, Max is a key figure. I love Max Crosby to death. But this year is going to be a make or break it year. Either we're going to run with him as our outside edge and a leader on the defense, but we need to add more components to that defense that have leadership qualities, because we keep saying it. I've been hounding Duncan about this too. Is their leadership.
Yeah.
That's where it comes from. And all of our glory days, it wasn't just one man that was a leader. It was a group. It was a collective. Everybody was a leader.
Yeah.
And everybody took onus. Nobody had to go to the sideline and yell at somebody for not doing their job.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They
all kept each other in check back then. It was nice seeing. You hear the stories of all the past Raiders and when we were in that winning era, they all kept each other in check, and you need that. You definitely need that.
Yeah. Frank Weber came in with, they don't take winning or losing personally, and that's the problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hate to lose.
Absolutely. And Max Crosby preaches that too. It just absolutely hate it. It just tears at you. With
Yeah.
that being said, though, like us Raider fans, we've gone through about 20 years of just failure.
Yeah.
And it's just been tough every single year. But with that being said, would you trade it for anything else in the world, being a Raider fan?
Yeah. So Darth, the question is, would you trade like, I guess Max, you're talking about Max, would you trade that for
No. Would you trade in being a Raider fan with all this losing?
No, I'll it's just like with so I was listening to JT the Brick and he was talking about, and this is when everybody was talking about, hey, let's lose so we can get the number one pick, and he was pissed about that, and I was just like, I agree with him. I was like, I never want to lose. I never want to lose, and it's just like I'm always going to be a Raider fan, and that's just what we learned. Like our dad, it was just like we were born a Raider fan, and it's like with winning or losing, we're always going to be a fan. It's just like with anything in life, you gotta take it, suck it up, and kind of move on. And hopefully the next year is better. So that's where we're at right.
And if Darth wants to go off the question,
what was that?
Would Darth trade in being a Raider fan for anything? With all
Darth, do you question being a Raider fan?
Shit. Look at me. Look at me. Look into my eyes. To actually add on to that as well, too, I think what I've told, this is another one of my mantras, wherever you are, Raider fan or not, just kind of, sort of, or die hard like us, you got to think like a player. You really have to think like a player. Did you think the players wanted to lose that game? They don't give a fuck, man. It's just like Max. You got to have that mentality. Like you just want to dominate. Granted, fans and what have you want that draft pick. I get it. But once you're on that field, man, I don't know if most of us have played football, right? You're not there to just get pushed back and go, oh, no, I need to go ahead right away. It's like one of the linemen actually said that as well, too. It's like, Laulu, right, one of the defensive tackles, was mentioning, at any job you do bad, you're going to get fired. So, where does that leave us? We're just going to take a knee? We're going to just let people through? And I mean, that's tape for all NFL to see, man. You have to think like a player. And a player wants to dominate at whatever he does. And you have to block well. You have to defend well. You have to run your routes well. You got to pass well. You got to do everything well, man, because everything else, Granted, I'm sure we all are happy we have the number one pick, but, man, at the time, man, I mean, you have to win. That's just part of what's instilled in you for an athlete, man. You don't run to run slow. You run to faster and to get better again. It's people really have to check their morality, and these days you play to win, you play to dominate, and anything less is just not the Raider way, man.
No. And Raider Wolf has a good comment here. Can't be mad at fans for being numb to losing, no matter what happens. That's a great take, Raider Wolf. I'm going to expand on that a little bit. And like with Leonard and Darth. Our investment, we invest into our team, not just by the attire or the flair that we have in our Raider rooms and stuff like that, because that's great pride that we take, right? And sometimes, and where we come from, the generations that we come from, and how we're invested in this team, we only need the players that are going to come in here and feel that passion and believe and understand that we're not getting paid to be Raider fans.
Mm-hmm.
We pay to be Raider fans, and there's a reason why. Is because we love what our franchise has brought forth to us.
Yeah.
Right? It's that aura, and I wouldn't change it for nothing. And I myself, just like Duncan, I was born into the Raider culture. Simple as that. It was my dad from the Darryl LaMonica days, AFL, on up, and then he just taught me the Raider way, and that's just the way it was. We were Raiders through and through, and it's not going away. When I leave this earth, I'm going to leave this earth as a Raider fan.
Yeah,
I'm taking it with me. I'm taking it with me, and But my historical memories began 1979 and on through, and we're going to get into a little round table here in a bit. But I'm going to just throw out number one. My favorite Raider of all time is Howie Long.
Mm-hmm.
When I played high school football, I always wanted to be like him. I wore the neck roll, the cut shirt, the whole 9 yards just to be like him. Played defensive end, get after the quarterback, the whole 9 yards. And we also celebrate the same birthday, which is awesome too.
Oh, cool.
But every true legendary Raider fan means something to us.
Mm-hmm.
And every Raider fan means something to me.
Yeah.
No doubt about it. Duncan, how about you?
Yeah, I mean, I want to add on a little bit on what was said just a little bit earlier on like the whole hating to lose and the whole just, I don't know how to phrase it, but talking lately, I've been able to talk to a lot of older Raider fans, and like they just have a completely different feel from what seems like the younger Raider fans. Because maybe a weird way of putting it, but it almost seems like there's a, with the younger fans, it seems like there's a video game aspect to it. Like they see football as a game, and they want to lose to get the first draft pick. Like they just want to reset the game and start over. And I think there's a lot to be said about like our culture with the younger fan base and how sometimes we just need to tough it out more. And I'll be honest, I was one of them. I'm like, you know what? I want to get that first draft pick. Like Mendoza's the guy. Let's get that reset. Let's start over. Let's do it. And it's like, you know, there's something wrong with that way of thinking.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of that has to do with just the current era that we're living in.
Mm-hmm.
And we're not taking those valuable lessons from that older generation of Raiders, where it's just no matter what, you put on those pads and you go out there and play as hard as you can every single down and beat the other person in front of you.
Yeah.
And we're just missing that toughness in this newer generation and with this younger Raiders team. And it's just, we really need that culture shift to where we just start toughing out every little thing. Like Max Crosby has it right. He's like, I don't give a shit about that first pick.
Yeah.
We're going out there to beat that other team. And it's just, I don't know. Maybe it's just now in the heat of the moment where I'm starting to realize it, but now I'm like, I really want to buy into that. Like us as fans need that culture shift.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, definitely a younger generation, because, you know, what transpired with the NFL. I mean, obviously, you know, the NFL is about, you know, making as much money as they can. You know, I get it. You know, it's a business. But, you know, look at how many people play, you know, fantasy, you know, football. It's like back then, you know, we didn't really have fantasy football. You know, it was just like you want your team to win no matter what. And I remember just, you know, like I said, it wasn't around. Fantasy football wasn't around when I was younger. And I always wanted, and it's so funny because I would root for whatever team would put the Raiders in the best position at playoffs. I mean, that's just the way I watch football. I still watch football that way. And I was like, I may be rooting for the Steelers this time, but I want them to lose another time, you know, depending on if they're playing something like, you know, the Broncos or something like that. So, you know, I always am looking for the best winning point position for the Raiders. I mean, that's just my mentality. And it, like I said, it has gone away from that. And if you talk to somebody old school, they want their team to win always. And they always want to be, you know, have that top seed, you know, whatever it is. So it's, it's definitely, football has definitely changed in that way. And, you know, like I said, you have fantasy, I think, which has changed that. You have obviously the video games that's changed that because you have like whatever player you want. But, you know, my favorite player back then was John Matusak. So he was the very first Raider I met. So, and he was awesome. He was just like a monster on defense. And I played, it's funny because I played defensive line in, you know, Pee Wee football way back when. So when I met him, you know, he asked me, he's like, oh, you play football? I was like, yeah. And he's like, what position do you play? I'm like, I'm defensive end. He's like, whoa, you know, just, you know, he got like, you know, just had fun with me as a kid. And I was just like, it was so impressionable. But, you know, he was just like one of those players. I've always loved defensive players, you know, first. And then, just was able to just appreciate, all the players that brought that passion, to just playing. I mean, over the years, I think that's what it is. It's like the passion. I think there was a comment earlier about that, and it's just like, yeah, that the generation has lost that passion to win. So we just need to bring that back, How about you, Darth?
Oh, definitely. I agree with the. It's just a different frame of mind these days. These kids like players more than teams, and our father instilled in us. He was from Oakland, California, born and raised. There was only one team we were liking. You didn't question that. That was just the mentality. It was the best looking. It was. Man, it was just all of it, man, of why, he loved them so much. And the reason why we carry on is tradition. God rest his soul. That was Charles Sr. He grew up with it, man. And that kind of instilled with us, every single family member, on the same page, and just what it's to be. It's just like life, man. You have hard times. You have rough times, but how do you go? Do you just not deal with it? Do you just go away? No, you stay with it. You try to fix it, and you're loyal to it, man. Kendrick said, in the song, "Loyalty is royalty," and I think about that a lot, man. It's just like
who's your favorite player, Darth?
Favorite, man, I guess you got to say the people that we've known, man, since we've got a chance to shake their hands and kind of sit at the table with them. Jim Otto, he identifies what a Raider is, man. That whole bucket head, that whole toughness, the blood on his eye. And Lincoln himself, Lincoln Kennedy, man, he's, doesn't get enough credit. He kind of tries to stay out of the shadows and stuff, but it's hard for a 6'7" guy to not be noticed. This is hilarious. But these players, they meant a lot to the organization. And again, if lineman was our identity back in the day, we should try to find that guy again. They're also loyal. Lincoln still works with the Raiders to this day. And Jim, he sat by Al Davis for the longest time, and he's just loyal. And that's what you need these days, man. More loyal than, just like, okay, I've had my 10 years of Raiders. I'm thinking of Devontae Adams. It was all freaking, sunshine and shit when, they showed him when he's a kid and play for the Raiders, what have you, Fresno, blah, blah, blah. And then it was just like, I got to get out of here. I got to do stuff. I got to go before I get my life took. It's just like, wow, all right. But we just need guys who are more dedicated and willing to work with the younger players and to get where the Raiders want to be. We need some guys that are just going to be the foundation of what's going to transpire. And we will win. We will win. It'll come back. I have, no doubt we will. It's just a matter of the right people on board.
The Raiders will be great again.
Oh yeah, the greatness of the Raiders is in the future. That's what he used to say all the time. Granted, it's been so long, man. Al, it's like, when are you gonna bless us, man? It's coming soon. It's coming soon. Just win, baby.
Yeah, too bad you couldn't put a date on that.
Right.
There's three business mottos that we've always ran true: pride and poise, commitment to excellence, and just win, baby. Mm-hmm. We need to start. It starts with pride and poise. Each game, you have to go out and play with pride and poise. Once you do that, you will start to develop the commitment to excellence. That becomes routine. It becomes nature. And then once that happens, it's all about just win, baby. Yeah. And what does it, Duncan, what do we need to do before we get to just win, baby?
Find leadership.
First, you get great coaches, and then you get great players, and you ask them to do one thing, and that's just win, baby.
Yeah.
That's it. That's it. So going into the 2020 2026 season. This is a perilous year for us, guys. It is. It's one of those that I hate to say it. Some of our fringe Raider fans, and there are fringe Raider fans out there, we're going to lose them. And being that we're currently in a city that is not our home, we're having to build it as our home. It's going to take it. This year is going to set that tone as to what we're going to be going into the future. And by golly, we got to get the coach right. We could throw names out. I mean, we all have our preferences of names, but ultimately, the person that comes in has to be the guy that is going to set this franchise back on the tracks and send it down with the train. Because we're in shambles right now, boys. It's so bad what we come off 2025 that I hope to God I forget about it. I mean, I still remember some of the Jamarcus Russell year. I still remember some of that.
Yeah.
But this year here was by far worse than that was.
Yeah, I agree. This was our worst year ever that we've had, and those three things that you mentioned, the pride and poise, the commitment to excellence, the just win, baby. I mean, that's one of the things that we started having back in 21 with John Gruden, and I hate to throw his name out again, but it's just like we need that leadership again. We need that that desire, that passion, and what's going to happen in 20. Yeah, I agree. This year, I want to say the number one thing we should concentrate on is that leadership, that coaching leadership. That's
leadership.
Yep, that's just going to like shock and just like, look, I don't care, players. This is what it is. This is what we're doing. This is how we're going to win. We need that type of coach. Yeah.
Yep. And the past coaching staff that we just had in 2025, we lacked the leadership, which I didn't think would happen with Pete Carroll.
Yeah, me neither.
But I also didn't think nepotism would soak our culture and make it sour.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what happened. And I believe the nepotism was so great in that building that's why we saw the productivity that we saw this year. I don't think it wasn't. Not only did the guys not buy into what Pete Carroll was doing, they checked out. And that was right about the middle of the second game of this season. You can see it.
Yeah.
And it comes down to, you have an offensive line coach that doesn't know what the hell he's doing, coaching the offensive line.
Yeah.
And he's the one that's calling he's the one that's basically dictating who's going to play, how it's going to play, who's competing and who's not, quote unquote, competing. I call bullshit on that. I will till the day I die. That the way those guys, knowing the guys that we had on the offensive line and how they were being treated and how they were being coached, most definitely that's the most sour point of our whole 2025 season. So as we get into our roundtable, my calling card and my on my wish list, I'm going to skip the first pick and I'm going to go straight to the second round in free agency because I'm pretty sure the first round is pretty much locked in, guys. I think it is. Yeah. And if it ain't, I want to know why.
Yeah.
I want to know exactly why. If we skip that kid at number one, there better be a damn good excuse as to why.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to sit back and I'm going to watch him. If he for some reason ends up on another team and starts balling out, that in and of itself is going to close the door on a lot of Raider fans.
Yeah.
I'll never turn my back on the silver and black, but by golly, that will put me in a freaking hyperdrive that it's like, you know what? I'm not spending any money this year on that team. Yeah. Forget it. I'll live with the past and love and cherish the past, but what they're doing, if they don't change it and get back to the winning ways, and get that quarterback that we can call ours, that's what we want, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So
Darth, Jason was talking about how it's an obvious pick that we should be picking Mendoza, but if that doesn't happen, what does that mean for the Raider culture? It's just like, who would be the obvious second choice after Mendoza that you see?
Well, there's that good defensive end I think people are talking about in college. I can't remember offhand, but I could just imagine. You imagine two guys that actually bully on both ends. Let's say we become that defensive team that Baltimore was, man. They want to, Joe Flacco was just all right. But, I mean, they're mostly known for Ray Lewis and the Dogs, man. What swallowed up our, offense by luck. Well, they, had to injure Rich Gannon. But that culture is not really found enough, for defense. And they say it kind of wins championships, right? So maybe that's where we have to go. Just build up our defense as much as possible, or if it's another D end or another dominant D tackle or even a corner to build that way. I mean, just think of what the Broncos are now. I hate to even use it as an example, but I mean, it's Greenlaw. It's the former Niner guys. It's their linebacker / end, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And they're in lines of winning with just a sophomore quarterback. Bo Nix is just all right. We almost beat that fucking team, on a Thursday Night Football. But they established a culture, and they're in line with competing for the trophy. I hate to really think of that way, but I mean they have a good team on all ends, man. Defense is there, and offense is just all right, and somehow they're setting up to win. So if that's going to be our culture, then fucking do it. But you better convince Raider Nation that okay, that's great, but how are we going to do that without an offense? Like, I mean, it's it has been done before. I mean, look at the Super Bowl freaking team just in general. We had the best offense on the face of the earth, and we got beat by that quarterback. I can't even remember his name. It's just in John Gruden that knew our plays, but I mean, it was just an okay offense, but more of a stellar defense. So it is possible. It just hasn't been seen in quite some time since maybe the early Baltimore days. But yeah, who knows? Who knows? Build that defense and stop people, make them frustrated. And I think if anything though, too, if you want to really instill, I mean, we do have Ashton Genty. And if that's going to be our culture, then we just need the linemen to help, and maybe even that could be our identity. A psychotic running game where, again, what we're talking about, just crazy-ass linemen, that pull, that just rush you to death, and, you just can't stop, I mean, that's something you got to build off of, and if that's going to be your culture, then, so be it, I think if it's not the quarterback, then hell, take your biggest lineman, your baddest lineman, and have them block. But, I mean, could you imagine what Raider Nation does if it's anybody that's not that guy? It's going to be a riot, so we'll see.
If you can just reiterate.
Again, they did this before. CeeDee Lamb, again, was right on the table, and we went the other way. We're going to take that guy.
Yeah. So we have a couple. So yeah, Frank, I agree. Don't forget the will to win. That's we definitely need players that have that winning mentality. And then Paulo from the Philippines. Yeah, thanks for tuning in. If you come by the tailgate, we'll hook you up. So I don't know if you ever fly out here to any of the games, but we'd love to take care of you, especially the people that travel from like across.
Yeah. How many games a year do you guys go to?
Every one. We're season ticket holder. Yeah, we're at every game. So we do the Dark Side tailgate in parking lot F before the game. So that's where we have, I know Lincoln Kennedy comes to our tailgate. We also have we've had Adam True come by, and some of the other players that have come by, past players as well. So we never know who we're going to be. I mean, Lincoln Kennedy actually, we have he has his own chair. So it's number 72. We have his own chair, so he's our regular at the tailgate. But we'll be surprised with some of the other players that might come or stop by. But we're parking lot F. We do a great tailgate. My wife's she's the chef that has all the great food there. We have some of the menu or menu items from Lincoln Kennedy's the Angry Crab Shack, which is there in Henderson. And then we have our I guess our specific drinks, like our Dark Side Tailgate and our Padme's Punch. So it's it's a good time. And I think I was reading one of the comments, and it was like, I think it was about being numb to the season, or but it was just like, I'll tell you what, we go there, we have a great time at the tailgate. We always want a Raider win. So if we have the tailgate and a Raiders win, it's like a plus. If we lose, which has been most of the season, hey, at least we had a great tailgate. So
yeah. There's always something
win,
positive
definitely.
that comes out of a Raider game.
Right? Exactly.
And we've been going on this for a little over 2 hours now, so I'm sure Darth needs to hit the back to tank. But Jason loves his trivia, especially Raiders-related trivia questions. So the prepared question we brought for you guys today is, which Raiders defensive player holds the franchise record for the most sacks in a single postseason, and in what year did it happen?
Ooh. So, Darth, do you see that question? Which Raider defensive player holds a franchise record for the most sacks in a single postseason, and in what year did it happen?
Jesus Christ.
Postseason. You're saying postseason. Okay, so that I want to say Howie Long.
Derek Burgess, possibly.
Derek Burgess?
Postseason.
Postseason.
Oh, postseason. Shit, was Howie Long even the postseason? It's so rare.
Yeah,
90.
let's see. Oh man, okay, that's a good one. God, that's bringing me back.
Greg Townsend? Could have been. Or then again, not too much postseason there too.
Yeah, I gotta say Howie Long. I can only think of Howie Long.
Yeah. So the question is single postseason. You're absolutely right. Howie.
Oh, it's Howie.
Long.
Okay, yeah, I thought so.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's Howie. No.
Yeah. What year?
Seems so obvious.
Oh, what year? Oh, shoot. Was this 80? 83?
There
No,
you go.
that's too
Oh,
early.
okay, good.
Do you happen to know how many sacks?
I want to say 11. I could be wrong, but
For the postseason. I wished it was 11. It felt like 11.
it's what, 7? Maybe 7?
It was actually
Oh,
4.
man.
4. Okay, yeah.
You gotta remember Alzado had a couple sacks.
Yeah.
You had Greg Townsend. He had 2 or 3 sacks in the postseason.
Mhm.
You had Lester Hayes had 3 sacks that postseason.
Oh, shoot, yeah.
Matt Millen had a sack that
We had an
postseason.
awesome team that year. That was an awesome.
That defense, believe it or not, I'm going to throw this out there. I believe that defense in 1985 was actually better.
Oh, really?
If it wasn't for Mark Wilson throwing 17 fucking interceptions against the Patriots,
Mark Wilson.
we would have beat
Oh,
beat the pants off the Patriots and
Yeah.
went on. And we'd already played Chicago once that year. We were going to play them again, and we would have beat them.
Yeah, I agree with you.
We would have beat them.
Yeah.
That was 85 that defense was nasty.
Yeah, 85's defense, yeah, they were tough. Definitely.
Chicago.
Yeah.
Richard
And the Bears didn't have much of an offense, but we had Mark Wilson. I mean,
Yeah, we had Mark Wilson, which was not
which if Mark
Oh,
Wilson's
bueno.
in the chat, if Mark Wilson is in the chat today, I apologize for all the negativity, because what we saw at quarterback play in 2025, I apologize. You aren't the worst quarterback we ever had.
Yeah. Hey, there's good years and bad years of every quarterback. I mean, actually, Jay Schrader came to come visit us. Probably like 2 or 3 games ago,
Yep.
and it was good seeing him. In fact, there was somebody who was down there with us, and I'm like, "Hey, what's up, Jay?" And they didn't know who he was. Like, "That's Jay Schrader," and they're like, "No, it's not." I'm like, "Well, he had some Goldilocks hair back then." I was like, and
He's not as tall as he used to be
Bald
either.
now.
yeah, he lost maybe an inch or 2, possibly.
Yeah. He kind of hunches over and walks a little different, but yeah, in all honesty, Jay Schrader's biggest hang up. Yeah, he threw a lot of interceptions, but I don't think the 89 season with Fernandez, Galt, and Brown, was electric on
Yeah.
offense.
Yeah.
But he needed that running game to support him.
Yeah.
And when Bo Jackson went down with that hip injury and we went to Buffalo, it was like, all hands off now. It's like, because we were that team was rolling with Bo Jackson.
Yeah. Yeah. I miss Bo. Bo was like, he was, him and Marcus were just a pair that, we just dominated.
Yeah. So we're going to be wrapping it up here. We've gone 2 hours and 10 minutes. Is there anything you'd like to add, Leonard? You guys, once again, thank you so much for coming on to our show. I'll snip some of this and we'll be posting shorts on YouTube from this show. You guys are more than welcome to come on anytime. As we get going, as we start to get closer to the draft and free agency, Duncan and I will probably have some more discussion and debate type shows that sometimes can get a little heated.
Are you guys going to be there in the draft?
I
Probably won't be.
I'm thinking about it, but like I said, I have my daughter's wedding this year.
Okay.
So I don't know if you guys have ever paid for a wedding. They're not cheap.
Oh, yep.
So I kind of want to keep an eye on that budget and make sure, because it's going to probably cost me about $2,000 to $3,000 to go back to Pittsburgh.
Wow.
Because if I go, I'm not staying in a Motel 6.
Yeah.
And I'm not eating 39-cent cheeseburgers either.
Well, thank you guys. I appreciate you having us on. I always got to just like to spread this out. It's like I said, we tailgate parking lot F at Allegiant Stadium before every game. We're there when the gates open, and we welcome all the fans just to come by, say hi, be a part of the tailgate if they want. We have a good spread, good drinks, food, but it's mostly family. It's Raider family, and we have the love for especially the diehards and the new fans and the super fans that come by. So we appreciate we appreciate you guys having us on, and we look forward to
now. Lot F is on the east side towards.
Lot F is, I guess I want to say south. It's like the south part of the stadium. So it's right next to was it Dean Martin Drive.
Okay.
So you have the F lot, then it goes G, then H, I, J. So if you're used to J is like where a lot of Oakland tailgaters were at, but we're in lot F. It's it's a pretty open parking lot, so there's not really a lot of tailgating going on there, but we're the closest to the entrance, the south entrance.
Yeah, when we went, we just stayed at New York, and went over to Mandalay Bay and walked across. And I think that's the biggest. Let's face it, you guys know this. It ain't going to be the same as Oakland. The tailgates in Oakland were. I wish we could have like just put that in a jar so we can share it with people.
Yeah.
Like this is what a tailgate is supposed to be like.
Yeah.
I mean, let's face it. You guys remember the AFC Championship game with Metallica in the parking lot? Oh, my God.
Yeah.
The hair on the back of my neck stood up for hours after that.
We still bring everything that we had in Oakland to our tailgate there. So you get the music, you get the food, you get the pregame, you get the, the drinks, you get the, the entertainment part of it. So we still have fun.
Now do you still?
Oh, what?
You still live in California, Leonard?
Yeah. We live in the Bay Area still.
Okay, and so you guys drive there every game?
We fly there. I have a friend who we leave our van there at his house, and then we prep the day before the game and get everything ready, and then we drive in that morning, and we let our magic happen, and we just like I said, whoever wants to come to our tailgate, you can go to the darksideTailgate.com. That's if you want to get a wristband, and then it kind of gives you a little idea of like what we do, kind of like what we did in Oakland. There's not as many people tailgating, but we still bring that love, that fun, that entertainment to our tailgate.
Now, I'm sure at the beginning of the year it's a little harder to tailgate when it's 105 out.
Yeah, I mean, preseason, it's been iffy, but September we've usually had a later game, so it hasn't been too bad in September. It all depends, it could be a little bit cooler, a little bit hot. We've had both, so we'll keep you cool with drinks, definitely.
Right on. Does Darth have anything else he wants to add?
Or do you want to add something?
Thank you guys from the bottom of my heart. Definitely go Raiders. Good luck with the podcast, man. It's been great having you guys. Thank you for hosting. Sorry we couldn't get the audio difficulties on board, but shit happens, man. It's just the tech world. It's a tech life. But it's an honor, guys. Thank you. Go Raiders.
Go Raiders.
Raiders.
So if you guys don't mind, stick around. We're going to end the live stream. Stick around in the studio, and we'll talk some more.
Cool.
But in the meantime, everybody, Raider Nation, show me your Shield fans. Duncan, been great. You got anything else to add, Duncan?
No, just thank you everybody for stopping by, and thank you Charles and Leonard. It was fun, and maybe we can do it again someday.
Definitely. Go Raiders.
Go Raiders.
Go Raiders.
Thanks, guys.
Cold open, counted out. Yeah, we heard the talk. Cold nights and long losses, still we walk. Scoreboard hurt, but the heart stayed real. Still wear the black, still flash the shield. From Oakland roots to Vegas dust, pain in the season, but we still trust. They say it's over, I say move on, but